So what is your name?
Dolores Barfield,
Where do you live?
St. Joseph, Missouri.
How old are you?
26.
What was your first reaction to COVID?
Um, Honestly, I think like a lot of people didn't really understand it and take it seriously just because, like, I mean, it wasn't a huge deal here yet. And then it all of a sudden was like, yeah, no, everything is shut down. And then all of a sudden it was really scary.
How has your reaction changed?
Like, it's still concerning, but like, I take it very seriously, but like, wouldn't necessarily say it's scary to me anymore because now we know so much about it. But definitely still concerned about it.
What have you been doing during quarantine?
Well, I'm still working. Work is doing a lot of masks and stuff. Like everybody has to wear masks. We have to try to stay 6 feet apart, which is kind of hard with the way our jobs work with cleaning and stuff. I haven't really had any like stay at home time except for like the first week of April. They sent all of us home because somebody possibly had a case, which ended up not being a case. But since then, just working.
So what is your job?
I work for Nestle Purina Pet Care in the cattery side, so I clean and feed and socialize the cats they have there.
So are there any worries? Obviously there are no worries of animals, of obviously other animals other than humans giving it to other humans, but are you worried about giving COVID to other animals because there have been some cases of dogs getting it in other animals?
Yes, so the way our, I guess, facility works is we are very big on biosecurity to preserve like testing and stuff. So dogs and cats are completely separate. We do not cross contaminate at all. So like there isn't too much worry of like the dogs possibly getting it from a cat or from a person just because like yeah, we're in physical contact with the animals every day, but like we're tested. Like our temperature is tested every day. Like if you are even thought to be sick, you are sent home. It's like it's too much, not too much of a worry of us giving it to the cats or the dogs. It's more of us giving it to each other.
So how has your job changed because of COVID?
My role hasn't really changed, but the way we work has definitely changed. At the start of it in March, they changed the way pet care comes into the building. We, instead of going in through the main entrance, we would have to walk around the whole building to the cafeteria entrance, and that was our entrance. And then everybody's wearing masks. We're trying to stay 6 feet apart unless, with cleaning impossible, or two people tasks like veterinary assisting. What else? The shifts, there's two shifts. There's Wednesday through Saturday, which is what I'm on, and Sunday to Wednesday. Before, we would overlap on Wednesdays, and for a very long time, up until like 2 months ago, we were completely separate, like no overlap at all. Like Wednesdays, we would alternate who was on and who was off. Like so, one Wednesday, I would work the full 10-hour day with my shift, and then the next Wednesday we would be off and the other shift would work. But sometime in like September we came back together after it was decided that we're going to give it a trial run and see how it works coming back together as the shifts. And so far it's been pretty good. We haven't had any cases, luckily. I think the only case we ever had was with ABM, our cleaning people, and even then, like that person is very rarely in the pet care side.
So, are you worried about, Give me a second. Uh,
You're right.
do you have any future plans? Like, especially since Christmas is coming up, and like, what did you do over Thanksgiving? Like, do you have any future plans to do anything?
Not really. Like Thanksgiving, I don't usually go home just because I usually volunteer to work the 3 hours and then go home. Like I don't go home to St. Louis too often for Thanksgiving. But Christmas I usually do because it's my birthday, Christmas, and then now my sister's twin baby's birthday is like all in the same week. So I won't be going home for Christmas this year, which is the first time in like ever I would not be celebrating Christmas with my family. So that's a little interesting. So yeah, most of my future plans have been canceled. Like I had 2 anime conventions this year that were completely shut down, canceled, not going.
Um, are they, so obviously since some of them are canceled, some events have been going virtually, and also are you planning on seeing your family virtually or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think me and my sister are gonna FaceTime on the baby's birthdays, and I can see them and stuff. And then believe my mom and dad are possibly coming up here just to exchange gifts, say hi, bye, see you later, leave type thing. Like they'll be here for maybe 24 hours. And luckily, I'm off that entire week for Christmas. So, like, I'm not too concerned of exposing my work people just because I won't be there that week when they're here. So, I'll have some time to kind of quarantine a little bit if they do come up.
So have you gotten tested for quarantine? I'm not for for COVID, and if so, when?
Actually, I have never been tested. They've never asked me to because I have had to stay home sick a couple times, but my symptoms never aligned with COVID, so they've never required me to get tested. I have considered getting the antibody test since I was sick, like I guess last December for a little while, but I'm not totally sure whether it was COVID or not. But I've never been tested.
Um, so what do you think of the government's response to COVID and other businesses, especially since you're also in one of those businesses? What do you think of your job's response to COVID?
So I'll start with the positive. I think my job's response, like Nestle's response, has been amazing. They have like as soon as like this started becoming a serious thing in the U.S., they like not shut everything down, obviously, because we have to come in every day and take care of pets. But they have made it very clear that they take this very seriously with the masks, with the sanitation, like everything. Like I said, I got sent home for a week because they thought somebody had it. Just even the thought of it, they tell everybody, like they don't tell like, hey, so and so has COVID, or we think she has COVID, so we're sending you home. They're like, someone within the company has had COVID, has possibly had COVID. We're just taking precautions. But they've like done an amazing job to keep pet welfare at the forefront of our job, but also human safety is number one as well. As far as the government has not been positive. I don't think they're taking it seriously. They never took it seriously. Like, so the fact that they're okay with over 200,000 people dying from it and counting really upsets me because those are people's families, those are loved ones, and it's upsetting that they just don't seem to care. And they're letting people say, well, it's my freedom to not wear a mask. Well, sure, but you're imposing on somebody else's freedom to be healthy and safe. And I do not agree with the way they've handled things. We have a company up here called Triumph Foods that does pork processing, and most of our cases up here is from triumph because they are not taking it seriously. They are not being held accountable.
So what do you think about the new administration that is coming in?
I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful that, seems to take it very seriously, and I'm hopeful that things will change. Don't eat that. Sorry, my cat. I am hoping that he's going to change a lot of things and impose some rules that will hopefully kind of keep it in check, because it's definitely not in check right now, and that is very concerning to me.
So I will also say that I have my cat here too.
Yeah,
Um,
she's not the most convenient creature.
so can you specifically tell me what your job is? Because I'm kind of confused.
So like I said, I work on the cattery side. So we have a bunch of cats that, we have on site for feeding tests and stuff like that. And I basically care for the older cats that are retired from tests. And, they are there. We take care of them for life. I honestly consider them to be my pets, and I care very deeply for them. Actually, kind of upset someone is going to be euthanized tomorrow because he's very sick. So, yeah, like you get very attached to the cats. Basically, I'm a pet owner, but I get paid for it.
So what are the tests that they do?
So, really, it's just feeding. We give them food and see whether they like it, they don't like it. That's really all the feeding. Like, it's very non invasive.
Um, have has these tests like increased because of COVID? Because I'm guessing that these are like companies trying to test food products for cats. Have these increased because more people like, or anything like this, or have they stayed the same?
So, certain tests got stopped completely because they were require, a lot of people to be within very small distances of each other. And especially during the start of it, they just stopped tests completely because they weren't sure how that would affect our biosafety with us. But since then, everything's just kind of been business as usual as far as testing. Like, it's not increased, it's not decreased, it's kind of the same.
Okay. Um, so have there been any difficulties or worries about keeping your job, or since you're kind of talking about how it's kind of stayed the same, has it just stayed the same?
Um, I wouldn't say like I was too worried to be like out of work, just like they would fire people for no reason or like because they couldn't meet demands or something like that. Um, I was more worried that, like I said, we got sent home very suddenly that 1 week, and I was worried that was going to happen again, and then I wasn't going to be meeting my goals for the day or for the week as far as work goals. It was more of, am I going to be able to meet my goals for the year and get my raise and get my bonus and stuff like that? It's like, how is this year going to affect that, my work performance?
Okay. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
Um, I don't know, cause like my experience with it is kind of, I don't know, not mild, because my mom did have it um in November. So like being 300 miles away from St. Louis and her being sick and not being able to come home and see her and be there for her, that was kind of terrifying. So like, while I have not had it so far, thankfully, the fact that it has gone into my family and affected somebody that I know, is very terrifying, and that's why it upsets me when people don't take the mask thing seriously. Don't they don't take COVID seriously. They think of it as another flu, which it's not. It kills more people than the flu ever has ever done. It's something else.
So, was your mom hospitalized, and also are you worried about any of the long-term effects that are just showing up now?
So she was never hospitalized. She was, kept at home and kept an eye on because she is diabetic. She does have an undiagnosed heart condition, is what we think. So, like, she has been monitored, but she never got sent to the hospital. I am concerned because she still sounds like, even though she's been clear and good to go for like almost 2, 3 weeks now, she still sounds like she's sick. And I don't know if that's sinuses or if it's in her lungs, and we just don't know how it affected her yet. But she's definitely a lot more tired, which, I mean, I wouldn't blame her. She said it feels like getting hit by a truck.
Uh, so you weren't a lot, you didn't talk, did you like Zoom call her, or like how did it work? Because obviously she had COVID and you couldn't really meet with her.
So we just called on the phone. Like, I mean, I felt kind of bad calling her and making her talk to me, but like I needed to hear her and hear for myself how she was doing, whether she was really telling me the truth of how she was doing. Because, like all moms, they tend to hide things from us to not make us worry. And so, like, hearing it with my own ears of how bad she actually sounded helped a lot, but we never Zoomed because I don't think that would help me seeing her like that. And yeah, I told work if something did happen, I'm sorry, I'm leaving to go to St. Louis. But luckily, she was fine for the most part.
Does your work have anything in case like you get COVID? Are there like what happens if you get COVID? Are you still getting paid? Like what's happening there?
Yes, so we do have pandemic pay. So, like, I guess that's what it's classified as under, but we still get paid for it for, I think it's like covered, like, the quarantine time, and like we get a certain number of days for it, but we still get paid for it. And I think, even if that ran out, we still have PTO to use, which is nice. Although all my PTO is going to my week off in December.
I think that's all the questions I have. Thank you for letting me interview you and record you.
Thank you. No problem.
Hey,
Glad I can help.
thank you.